Hey friends, my name's Stevie Taylor. Welcome to the Gig Life Podcast. My guest today is bass player Victor Rounds. Born in Fiji, his family migrated to Sydney in the mid-60s for a better way of life. From guitar and ukulele, he picked up the bass around the age of 15, tuned his transistor radio in some local radio stations and taught himself everything he heard. Since then, Victor's played with Jenny Morrison, Marcia, Hines, Renee, Geyer, Tina Arena, Rick Astley, Paul Gray and Glue, just to name a few. Everybody knows who Victor Rounds is, still very much in demand. We hung out at his house, had a beer and chatted about his career. He's got a really cool story about Tower of Power and some old dude named Paul McCartney or something. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the coolest cats in town, Victor Rounds. Cheers. I think we're rolling.
Okay.
Victor Rounds.
Hello, how are you? Steve
Good,
Taylor.
mate. Good. Welcome to the Gig Life Podcast.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having me in your home.
You're most welcome.
No worries. What have you been up to today?
Today, of all days, what did I do? Yeah, I bought a nice rug from Gumtree on the weekend. And you're looking at it right there on your right shoulder. I picked it up for $50, mate.
It's all right.
That's a good bargain. So that's what I was doing, moving furniture around and putting the rug in there and stuff like that.
No music today?
Absolutely no music today. I think all the music happened on the weekend. So, Monday, Tuesday is just like chill out time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of musos are like that too.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
Yeah. And what we do music-wise on the weekend?
Music-wise, on Saturday I did a wedding. On Sunday I went to a function. I didn't actually play. Friday I did a wedding too as well. And last Wednesday I did a gig with there's a band travelling around Australia at the moment called The Voices. Mm-hmm. And it's a bunch of singers, like lead singers from various bands. Like Dale Ryder is from Boom Crash Opera. Mm-hmm. He's in this group with Jason Singh, who's from a band called Taxi Ride from Melbourne.
Yep.
They had a couple of hits about a decade ago.
Yep. Taxi Ride.
Reese Maston, he's a voice winner, but although he wasn't on this particular gig.
Yep.
And
but he's there sometimes.
He's part of the Voices thing. Yeah. Only because this was like a small corporate gig, they only brought the three singers up. So.
Okay, so you do all the voices.
I do the voices gigs when they come up to Sydney.
Oh, okay, right.
So that's how a lot of acts work now in Australia. They used to, at first, take their own band with them, but that's just too costly at this stage of the game. So what they do is, cleverly, they have a rhythm section in every capital city. Yep. So basically pick them up there and then just do the gigs, which is very cost effective,
Yeah.
And it makes sense too as well. Yeah.
Who's the drummer on your rhythm section?
For the voices, we've got Fab.
Yep.
Fabrizio on the day, and this time around we had Chris Camzelis on guitar.
Okay, yeah.
So just the three of us.
Great.
And the voices take their own lead guitar player with them, or rhythm guitar player with them.
Yep.
So Adam's Cernace and from Melbourne, and it works really well. It's good. So we did a gig on Wednesday night for a corporate company, and half an hour set, that's it.
Really? Yeah.
Just whack out all the hits and then get out of there.
Money in your pocket and you're gone.
Yeah, I mean, those kind of gigs are good. This is we're in the middle of November now, so this is the silly season where
kick off,
musicians are actually quite active now, just running around working, doing gigs. This is the season when a lot of people get married, so they're always wanting, marriage bands and stuff like that. So it's good.
So you're sort of you're booked up?
The book is quite full at this stage, and January and February is looking good too as well.
Awesome.
So it's. I'm always thankful when the book's kind of filling up as you go along.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's that it's that industry. You just never know when your next gig's coming. Unless you've been booked way ahead. You know?
Yeah. Cool. All right, man. Let's roll right back to the start. So you're from Fiji originally?
Yeah, originally born in Suva, Fiji.
Yep.
Born to parents. My mother's from Tonga.
Mm-hmm.
She was a musician. I think I've picked up my talents from her because she was the first. She married my dad. My dad's from Fiji.
Yep.
So mum's from Tonga, and my dad used to be a merchant seaman, and then he started working for the government. Did a contract in installing marker beacons, navigation beacons all around the islands of Fiji. And then his job also took him to Tonga. So when he went to Tonga, that's where he met my mother.
Right.
And then things happened, and
Yep.
one thing led to another. She came over to Fiji,
Yep.
settled down, got married, and had 5 children.
Yeah.
Me being the youngest of
Yep.
the 5 siblings.
Yep.
But she was also a very good musician, avid musician. She played the banjo, violin,
Yep.
piano, sang.
Yep.
Ukulele, you just name it. So I think we all got our music from her.
And so the rest of your all brothers?
Yeah, I'm the youngest of
Yep.
4 brothers.
Yep.
And then 1 sister.
1 sister, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you're all musicians?
3 of us were musicians. Yeah.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
One ended up becoming a priest.
Okay.
Yeah, so he kind of but he still was quite musical,
Yep.
know. And my sister dabbled in music, but she was more like outgoing type of a lady that just travelled and worked in media.
Yep.
And ended up working for NGOs, and then she ended up working in the government as a cabinet minister. So But music definitely was the main thing in our family. On weekends, we'd all get together and just play.
Just the party sort of thing, yeah.
But as in coming from, because we migrated over here in about 65, 66. Excuse me. And so we came over here for a better way of life, better education. I mean, if for anyone back in those days to be able to emigrate, especially from the South Pacific, and go to a country like either New Zealand, Australia, or Canada, or the west coast of America, that was a big thing, man. There was, not many people could afford that. So my dad had he just thought there was more scope for the rest of the family to move on. So, we were very thankful that he thought about us and made that big move.
Yeah.
But he came from the old school of working hard. He came from a family of like 11 kids. And he had to leave school when he was 13 just to support his family. So he missed out on education. So what he intended to do for us is not to have that same situation. So he just brought us here for a better way of life. So, which was good. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I completed the high school and did all that and was supposed to go into university, but I was dabbling in music by playing in bands and stuff like that. So,
What instrument to start with?
well, when I was young in Fiji, we all, if you're growing up in the neighbourhood, there's peer pressure. Everyone has to play the biscuit tin. You've got to have some kind of rhythm. Learn to swim, ride a bicycle, climb a tree, climb coconut trees, do all blah blah blah. And the first musical instruments we all learned to play was the ukulele.
Okay.
Only because of our size. And then from the ukulele, you graduated onto your acoustic guitar. And then from acoustic guitar, you started playing around with T basses. Those T chest basses. It's just basically a big box.
Oh, with the stick and the
just one string.
Yeah.
That was our first introduction to bass, so to speak.
Bottom end. Yeah.
And it wasn't really playing any particular notes. It was just providing a thump. Boom, boom, boom. You could almost call it like bass stroke bass drum.
Yep.
Because the tone you were pulling was really a thump. Like boom, boom, boom. But the technique was to give it more like a rhythmic feel, like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, cool.
That kind of plucking sound,
Could you change? Did you you realised early on you could change the tone. Will you change the tone by bending the stick, or do you?
No, just bending the stick.
Bending the stick, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at it technically, you should, on a stick bass, you should actually be pressing the string down to try and get the next pitch or the next tone.
Yeah.
But it doesn't kind of work on that because you don't have a fretboard to actually
You muffle it.
to get the new note.
Yep.
Because you've got your finger on it, whereas on a modern guitar, if you're related to that, it's actually the nut.
Yep.
So it's got to be material, string, material at the end. So being the bridge and the nut.
Gotcha.
But when you got your finger on it, it's not really much of a tone. So what people used to do was actually bend the stick.
Bend the stick, yeah.
Bend the stick back. So what you do is you have a short string, not a really long string, so you've got that leverage to get lots more tone. So when you bend the stick back, you're not...
Yeah.
The string won't touch the stick.
The stick, right, yeah.
And I used to be fascinated because a lot of guys back home, man, just talented, with a good musical ear, But what I liked more really was their rhythm.
Yeah.
Just the way they could just pluck away, And it was all about the rhythm thing. You can, who cares about what note you're playing? It's just when they heard that, it's like, wow, man. The focus was on the string bass player,
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so just went from that, and that was growing up in Fiji. Then we migrated here when I was about 11 years old or 12 years old, and then stopped playing for a while because we had to go to school and all that blah blah blah. But on the weekends we were gathering around. My brothers played and sang.
Yep.
One of my brothers played piano, accordion, and ukulele, and my other brother John, he played guitar and sang. So it was always look forward to the weekends because just all our families, our siblings and their wives and kids just came along. It was just a big
party time.
Yeah. But I think that's kind of like an island way of island style social gathering.
Yeah, New Zealand too. Yeah.
Before we started, going out and actually socialising the local community. You first feel safe amongst your own,
of course,
mob, and then once you get to know your neighbourhood, then you
venture out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And was it always Sydney?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. It's kind of bizarre. Like everyone was, when we were preparing to come here in the 60s, late 60s, everyone was saying, oh, my dad's name was Alfred. And he says, Dad, how come you're not going to New Zealand? Because that's where everyone's going. You're like Auckland, or how come you're not going to Canada or LA? And Dad just always read about this country, Australia. It was like the new frontier.
Right.
And back then too, they were looking for skilled labourers.
Right.
And Dad was a carpenter.
Yep.
Shipbuilder, carpenter. So he had all the skills.
Yep.
And he said, no, we're going to Australia. So, and then now you fast forward to today, this is like the country that you want to be in at this stage of the global situation, or whatever is going on. It may not be the perfect country, but, I think Australia and New Zealand I thought they were on par, but I think NZ's pretty cool too.
That's cool.
Stage.
Yeah.
And then when I came here, did my primary school, went to high school, still listening to music.
Playing in bands at high school?
You know what, it was kind of conservative back in the days, because I went to a private school. I went to Morrison Brothers at North Sydney, and in my time it was frowned upon if you dabbled in music.
Really?
It was bizarre. It's like you either had to partake in sport, which I did. I played rugby in the season, rugby league, played cricket in the season, did athletics, did everything. But I think I do recall mentioning once or twice to my mates that I was like mucking around playing bands on the weekends, and they went, "Oh, what do you want to do that for, man? That's like sissy stuff,
Oh, what?
Yeah, it was bizarre. It was really bizarre. But that was, I don't know whether it was just my school, because we had a lot of restrictions then. You weren't allowed to, if your hair was longer, like more than 2 inches over your collar, you were suspended for the day. You can't come back to school unless you got a haircut. That must be the Catholic thing, And so, I got suspended a couple of times. But this was towards the end of my senior years, And there was only just in my final year that I do recall that our school did have a band as such. And in that band was a guy, Rory O'Donoghue, one of the guys out of Auntie Jack on the ABC series.
Right.
Yeah, he was a pretty outgoing character, and I thought, man, this guy's going to go far. And sure enough, he did. You know?
Yeah, right. You saw it back then.
Yeah. So I'm proud to say that I was only a few years behind him at our school. And he has since passed. You know. So and that was, and then I just started to become kind of rebellious because what was happening on Australian radio was just junk as far as I was concerned. I mean, I was listening to it, I was absorbing it. I knew all the songs that came out, but I was craving for more. And then I discovered back in those days they had like underground music. What was considered underground music was music that wasn't readily available, and you only read about it in the magazines, and the odd occasion you might hear it on another station, or sometimes also. Okay, now I just remembered something. Radio Hauraki in New Zealand.
Yeah.
That was my first exposure to soul, funk,
Yep.
and every other kind of music that came out. Because they were like a pirate. Were they a pirate station, or they were just a proper?
I'm pretty sure they were just a proper. Don't quote me on it, but I'll look it up.
It might have been in Sydney that I heard a couple of pirate stations that played all this stuff, and I was going, man, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. This is the kind of music I like, you know.
Were you playing along to other stuff that was on the local radio?
I played all the top 40 stuff. I just picked up on it, and I liked the sound of bass. I just went from guitar to bass.
Oh, okay.
And
at what age was that?
About 15, 16.
Yeah.
Because back then there was a whole bunch of us that all played guitar.
All played guitar, yeah.
And no one wanted to play bass.
Yeah, right.
And it got to a stage where we formed. There was the odd occasions of forming bands that didn't last long, but I always drew the short straw, and it was like, oh, you're going to play bass, you know. So I thought, okay, that's cool. And then all of a sudden my ears picked up on bass, and when I heard Tamla Motown for the first time and where the bass was going, for me it was like, whoa, this is some scary shit right here. Now, just like rhythmic things and just notes that I've never heard before, you know, phantom notes and what's he doing? And,
Jameson, man.
There you go. It wasn't long after that I discovered who that character was on the bass, you know.
Yep.
And there was more soul music that came along, and I always thought it was Jameson all the time, but no, it was all these other different cats from different record labels.
Yep.
So you had the Motown label with Jameson always there, plus other players as the years went on. And then you went to Atlantic label, and there was another bass player that was there. And then you went to the Philly label, and there's all these other players.
Stacks.
Exactly.
Donald Duck Dunn and those.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that just opened my mind up.
Yep.
Just like, well, this is fantastic, you know. And it just went from there, strength to strength. And then James Brown came along, and that was like, what the hell? My life was good. I just felt so... It was like I got hit, you know, like by something. It was like a light that son, this is the real music out there. This is for you, you know.
Yeah.
So I just, back in those days we had transistor radios, you know. We left behind in Fiji a nice big gramophone, I think it was a H&V or something, where it was, the tones were so beautiful. You had bass and stuff like that. Analog tuning, you know, tuning to radio hierarchy and just trying to get the best sound. Yeah. But when you came to Australia, you had new technology, which is, you can get a transistor radio now with good tones and sound. And I used to go to bed every night just listening to some program and just have it right up against my ear. And just listening to just the bass and the whole song.
Did you ever have the little speaker that used to plug into the little... Because my grandma had one. She had her little transistor radio, and she had this speaker, and it was like a... little 5-inch speaker.
Oh, really? Like an extension?
It sat underneath the pillow, and you could go to sleep.
Oh, I didn't
like knocking you in the head when you're trying to go to sleep. It was awesome.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
No. It's like that was technology back then. Yeah. So growing up in Mossman, living at home, I mean, we couldn't afford to have our own bedrooms and all that. So Mum had her own bedroom with my sister sleeping nearby, and I shared a room with my dad.
Yep.
You know, because he was just one of those hard-working carpenters. So whenever he went to bed, I had to go to bed too. I couldn't sort of like, you know, don't disturb the old man's sleep.
Yeah, right.
You know, stuff like that.
Yep.
But on the odd occasions when he would be out late somewhere, I'd be laying in bed listening to the transistor radio and listening to all that stuff.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I keep saying unfortunately, I mean, I sucked up everything that was on the radio. And I think in some ways it was good because it opened up my ears. It just made me be aware of what music was out there. And it didn't, when you're 18 or 17 or 15 to 18, there's no prejudice in music as far as I was concerned. I was lapping it all up. It was great. And I was paying more attention to bass, like, wow, the bass player. Creedence, when Creedence came out with their Cosmos Factory, I just lapped every track of that album. When Led Zeppelin came out, they had their 1 and 2 albums. I lapped that up. I just learned to play the bass on that. Deep Purple, everything. And then I started to see the difference in genres. And I thought, then it made me decide, okay, what do you really like? You know what I mean? I started to go off the rock kind of underground rock bands and just sort of my direction was more to the soul R&B, funk, and then jazz came along too, and that kind of like, okay, yeah, this is. I actually in the early days I used to think of jazz as smart music. You know, it was like, what are these guys playing? What are all these chords and stuff like that? It took me about another few years to realise what was going on. You know, my brother taught me a few things about that, all these different chords, which was nice. But there was so much shit going on in the late 70s or mid 70s, right through that. It was great. There was a big choice of music. You know, you choose what you want, whatever hit, whatever, you know, tickles your fancy. That's it. It's happening right there and then in some part of the world, you know. So, you know, it was a very good time in music.
And what about bands? When did you start playing in bands? Because that time you were lapping up that music. You sitting at home.
I was sitting at home. I was going to friends' places on the weekends. When I was about 17, 16. I bought my first electric guitar I bought was a red Fender Strat. It was a copy, but it was exactly I thought that might have been the one that Hank Marvin was playing.
The Shadows,
And I couldn't even afford a case. I used to just, when I'd catch the bus to go up to my friend's place at Chatswood, I'd just put it in a big plastic thing, just wrap it up. But even feel embarrassed about it, sitting in the bus with just like everyone's looking. Because if you can imagine back in those days, you know, no one really saw a guitar every day of their lives, let alone one wrapped in plastic. You know, you know. But then you get to your friend's place and you're just happy to unwrap it and plug it in an amp and just try all that stuff. And went through the Shadows thing too as well, by the way, which everyone did. So that was like 15, 16. When 2 years before I finished high school, I was actually started playing in bands, island bands, and island dances were a big thing in Sydney because it was the only community where all the islanders, even Kiwis, you know, the Maoris and everyone, they just knew of an island dance in Ultimo in Sydney, so they all went down to that hall. And my cousin was in the band there, and I used to jam with him on the weekends, but he knew that I was still at school, and they were desperate to get a bass player, and so he had to come and ask my mum, you know, mum's permission if I could go over there. And she said, "Oh, I don't know about that. You know, you keep an eye on him all night. You know, he's not allowed to drink and all that sort of stuff." So that's basically when I started playing in island bands. Call it semi-professional if you wanted to, but you know, you got paid nothing, perhaps. I can't recall now. They were good fun days because we were in the band playing, and all these nationalities come walking through it was just a hall where they charged $2 at the door. The food that was on was just a big pot of curry and rice. So there was another $2 there. I think from memory we only got about $5 each. Big money for me in those days. When they came in, it was just tables and chairs, trestles, and all this, and you just play and play until people get drunk and pissed, and then before you know it, big fight on, you know. But it was great for me. It was an experience, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
You had to watch it that the odd bottle doesn't come flying on stage, you know.
It was like grab your guitar and
yeah. But back in the day, we never owned the instruments. This one guy that was running the dance halls, Olga Johansson, he was an ex-boxer from Fiji. He owned all the instruments. So the very first bass I was playing back then was a Rickenbacker, and I didn't know how valuable it was when I was playing a Rickenbacker bass. Weighed a ton.
Yeah.
You know, as you can imagine, an 18-year-old, 7-year-old kid, you know, holding this bass. And I'm like, man, this bass is heavy, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they owned the amps and the drum kit and the whole thing. So it was good, yeah. That went for a few years.
Yeah.
And then when I left school at 18, someone had heard of me and asked me if I wanted to go and play in the pub band, and then it just started from there.
Yep.
And I just knew all the material that they wanted to play. It didn't matter if it was a rock band or anything. I just knew the stuff.
Yep. And
played in there. And they go, oh man, you're pretty good, eh?
Did you ever learn to read?
No, never back then.
No, it's all here.
It was all here.
Do you read now?
I read now.
Oh, you read now?
Yeah.
Yep.
But back in the day, I didn't think it was important.
Yep.
My ears were my was my big, you know, indicators, you know, as such, you know.
Yeah.
And that went on for a couple of decades until I was playing professionally, so to speak.
Yep.
Yeah, I just threw myself in the deep end. You know, people assumed that I read. I didn't read.
Yeah.
I'd go into studios and be found out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but not found in a shocking way. It was like I just used to think, come on, ears, don't fail me now.
Yeah.
Because when you're in a studio situation, they throw a chart in front of you. I could read chord charts.
Yep.
Because that's something that I taught myself. But you know, all I wanted, or all I depended on, was just the first run through.
Right.
And that's how much pressure I was under.
Yeah.
You just give me the first run through, and I will remember everything. So when we do it again, it'll be my ears, my memory, and the last thing is my chart as a roadmap.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it kind of strengthened my ears. But then I thought, you know, this can't keep going on for a while. I need to go and learn stuff. So I just taught myself to read. Didn't go to any institution.
Yep.
Nothing, no conservatorium. Back then it was only the con.
Yep.
You know, nothing else. Mm-hmm. And that used to put a lot of people off because everyone thought the conservatorium was like just the big jazz police academy, you know.
Yep.
Anything else outside of jazz was not legit.
Right. Is that just what people thought, or was that how it was?
That was kind of like the attitude.
The attitude
around,
towards it. Okay, right.
You know.
Not from the people in there.
I don't know. I mean, there's a bit of a culture that's, you know, when you mention conservatorium today of music, you know, people go, ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, are you serious? Or, you know. But, I mean, I know of a lot of great players that just went to the con just to learn enough of what they needed to know, and then they just got out. They just didn't have to finish the course and get a degree, you know.
Yep.
So, but man, I went through life just doing that, self-taught, asked a lot of questions, just being on stage with people who were far superior than me with other instruments, but that was my learning tool, just being around them and see what they did, see how they wrote, and ask them questions. Why are you playing, why is that chord over another chord, a slash chord or something like that, you know? Mm-hmm. And in the end, it just, it all kind of made sense. It took a long time, but I didn't do enough. I did a lot of recording sessions and all that, but I ended up writing my own charts. When I found out about the Nashville system, number system, I thought, far out, man, this is where I've come from.
Yeah.
You know, as far as like coming from the islands, they use numbers.
Numbers, yeah.
You know, when you, in today's terms, when you play a chord, it was like, oh, well, it's only a 3-chord song, which people refer to as the 1, the 4, and the 5. But in, and when you go to like a tone, you know, like in France, in Fiji we call it a sharp.
Right.
It was bizarre. You know, it wasn't even that at all. And first, second, and third was 1, 4, and 5.
Right.
That was our terminology, and I think they use that in the islands.
Right.
You know, if you're playing a 3-chord song and you go to the 4th chord, we call it the second.
Right.
Because it's 3-chord song. You know?
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I came from that school, and then when I met players here from Nashville, and they were just going, oh yeah, because it all made sense. It was quick. If you're a studio musician and you're doing a lot of sessions, instead of writing out the chords and all that, you just write out numbers as such. And the numbers will always be the same. When the artist comes in and says, I've decided to change the key, I'm going up a tone.
Yep.
The number's still the same.
Yeah,
you just go up a tone and just play the numbers.
Yep.
And that was like, whoa, this is so good. But then I thought in the end, this is not the one all to end all. You still have to be living and working in a professional environment where, you know, an arranger or conductor will come up and says, okay, here's the bass chart. This is what you play. And you just have to play.
Yeah.
So after many, many years and being encouraged by a lot of other good players out there, you know, they just showed me the ropes and said, man, just go out. There's some good books out there. Unfortunately, back in the day, we didn't have the technology like we do today with YouTube.
Yep.
You know, as such, you can do anything you want on YouTube.
Or just apps.
Or
You just
apps.
buy an app that's got every chord and every...
Absolutely. You know,
For $2.
It's always, for me, it's like, damn, man, where
Yeah.
were you when I was a
Yeah.
teenager, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But in some ways, it kind of, I think, growing up in that period, it was kind of, it made us stronger musicians because all we had was a little record player with a
Yep.
needle, and you're just lifting the
Yep.
needle and putting back on there, lifting it up, putting back there.
Yep.
And we're interpreting what we think they're playing.
Yep.
And you do that for almost the rest of your life until someone comes along and plays the same song, then you watch them play and you go, far out, how do you do that? So they had another technique of doing it. So, but that was a long journey to get there, just to find out how you did it. In today's world, YouTube it. And,
Yep.
and you know, you might get 5 different bass players or keyboard players or any other instrument players for that matter, who will show you their own different fingering style, and you go, wow, man, it's great. Yeah, exactly. It just makes your life more satisfying and fascinating. It's like, wow, okay, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily have to change to their ways. If you're so comfortable with the way you've played it, leave it alone.
Yeah.
You know.
I think you'd appreciate that more now because you came up through doing it the old way, whereas I think it gets taken for granted, the people that that don't know how to listen to it. Or, you know, for me it was having a tape deck, not so much the record, but hitting play and then writing down and rewinding it. You know.
Yeah.
That's how I used to sort of do it, and seeing all that YouTube stuff now, even to me, is unreal. Go,
it's great, you know. It's too much information. Yeah, too much information. Too much information.
Yep.
I think it might have a little bit of a detrimental effect, especially for young players, because you know we live in a day-to-day in the times of today where everything is we want now, like this.
Yep.
Which is great, and you'll get it. There's always instant communication with whatever you want to get involved in. But the only thing is you haven't had that period to absorb it.
Yep.
You know, so you can have a really bright kid that'll just go and learn all this stuff, which is fantastic, and will show it to you, but there is no substance behind it.
Yep.
They haven't actually done the journey.
Yep.
And that I noticed that with some of the students that I teach today, you know.
Yeah.
I call them back in my day, we called ourselves gunslingers, you know, we were the fastest guns in town, you know, we can do any kind of shit.
Yeah.
Well, that same terminology I can use today for some of my young students. Brilliant. You know, they've got facility, technique, the whole thing. But when you get them to play a song, they can't settle down, you know. It's like a, you know, can of beans, man, just like roaring to just bust down. It's like, no, man. Just enjoy this one song.
Yep.
You know, you've got all that ammo in you. Don't waste your bullets.
Hold it,
Just hold it. Just show me what you got. Just out of all this, take away all that stuff you learned of YouTube. Just show me your soul. Let's just see what you got in there. One little inkling of your soul. I just want to see it if I can feel it or sense it. And I would know, I could sense if there's fake in there or fakeness, or there's the real thing,
Yep.
There's just little things like that,
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mention before because I do teach now. Mm-hmm. I used to teach at. I went to AIM back in 2012. Mm-hmm. I got asked if I wanted to come in and do a course, and I said to the head of the contemporary department then, I says, why would I want to do it? He says, just for your own good if you want to. Mind you, I had just come out of the doldrums because my marriage had just finished prior to that, so I thought this would be a great opportunity to just snap out of it and just get on and work my brain, make it more active. Mm-hmm. And I did, and I ended up getting a master's degree. I did a master's in composition and production. And it did make me a better person, mm-hmm. not so much I came out with all this technical sort of facilities and all that. It just made me a better person musically. But it did teach me a lot of academic, it gave me knowledge, with stuff like that. And it just made me more aware about music as such. Mm-hmm. And I left it at that. I graduated. I was about to walk away, and the head said, "No, why don't you come in and teach now? With all your experience and blah blah blah." And I went, "Well, not really. I had other plans. I wanted to go to the UK and do my thing." And so anyway, they made me an offer, and it was pretty good. So I thought, okay, I'll stick around for a couple of years.
Yeah, cool.
Which I had done up until last year, and then I just sort of decided to be a little bit more freer.
Okay.
So I'm scattered now. I just sort of do the odd day at another college up the road, AMPA, and also a high school, Australian Performing Arts Grammar School in Sydney. Yep. And that's fine. That's heaps, Yep. I love imparting my knowledge and experience to kids. Only kids that really want to learn, If you've got time wasters in there, that's fine. You just as long as you make sure they don't slow down the rest of the class,
Yeah, right. But you're teaching a class, not one-on-one.
No, okay, not one-on-one. Gotcha. I love ensembles, man. I love teaching bands. You give them a couple of hits, or you give them something. It's always got to be a good collective. You can't go in there and be the tyrant. All right, we're going to learn this. We're going to learn that. Because some of them may hate it. So what you do, you have a little round meeting, and you go, okay, pick all your top 3 songs, put on the board narrow it down until you get a majority of what the kids like. Right, we're going to start learning that. But the beauty about this job is that I actually can play the bass and the guitar and the keys and the drums just to inspire them. Yep. And they go, wow, this guy's the real deal. Yeah, cool. They're not going to muck around on you. Yeah. Because I don't go in there with the whiplash and whoosh, it's like, it's no fun for them. Yeah. But when you show them how it's done, with a little bit of style or funk, it's like, oh man, how do you do that again? Yeah, this is cool. But you just leave it to them, and then you compliment them, and that's how you make them want to partake in shit, Yeah. That's all it is, That part of teaching I like, where they all get involved as such. So. Yeah. And then outside of that is just gigging. Yeah. Just lots of gigs. Yeah, touring, mixed bag of stuff. Yeah. I love it. I was composing at one stage. Mm-hmm. I was doing some producing. Do you remember Pauline, mm-hmm. the singer? Yep. When she first came out in 2003, I wrote a song I composed a song for the South Pacific Games. Mm-hmm. So they used that theme song, and I got Pauline to sing on it. And that's kind of like how she was really discovered. So she went from that straight into Australian Idol. Oh, right, okay. And then her journey began. Yep. So, and I've produced other people as well in the past, and written music for all kinds of media stuff. Yeah.
Let's go back into some of the people you've played with over the years. So, who would have been? Well, let's name off a few. So, Renee Geyer.
Renee. Yeah.
Yep. Marcia Hines.
Yes.
Jenny Morris.
Yep.
Tina Arena.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
James Morrison.
Yeah. I've recorded with them or toured with them.
Yep. Yep.
That was pretty good. That was back in the days when artists were using musicians as such. It was just like a live human input.
Yep.
Rather than programming and stuff. And all that was most enjoyable back then. Margaret Earlidge. Debbie Byrne, she was kind of out of Young Talent time.
Yep.
But this particular album I did with I played with is it Roger Taylor, the drummer from Queen? When they were in town.
Cool.
Yeah, he came over to 301.
What was he like? What was that like?
Very professional.
Just like a normal dude, or did he have that?
No, he didn't have the big sort of I am.
Yeah,
No, it was none of that.
Wow, that's cool.
He just came in and we just all talked, and we talked about the briefing for the song, and we just did it, And nice dude. Played with who's that guy from 1-2 Clan? He's a rap artist. He came and he just. Another great producer too. He says, "Man, just do your thing." So I just started doing the bass line. Then he just did a rap thing over that, and that was great. That was the Russell Crowe kind of sponsorship, because they were good mates, from America and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
So, we recorded for Russell as well.
Yep.
Up at his studio. James Morrison, I played on his album, The Postcards from Down Under. He kind of wrote music for this artist, Ken Doan. Ken Doan's pretty famous for writing, doing all those weird paintings. Sydney Harbour and all the beaches and all that.
Yep.
Did that. Tom Emanuel's album.
Was that Dare to Be Different?
Up from Down Under.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dare to Be Different. Yeah, I don't know if I played on that too as well. I can't.
I was having a look on the a discography of you today.
Oh, okay.
And it's got that one on there, but then I went into it and I couldn't see any detail. But I remember I got that album not long after I first moved to Australia. It fucking blew me away.
Yeah.
Oh. Who's this guy? I remember seeing him because we used to have Hey Hey It's Saturday on. He used to come on TV in New Zealand.
Okay.
And then just Tommy Emanuel was on there quite often, I
still think today's the
best
guitarist.
One of the best,
on the acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
He's amazing,
Yep.
We only just ran into each other a few months ago, actually, when he arrived back, and sadly it was just after his brother passed.
Yep.
But he's doing really well.
Yep.
Another top bloke. Jenny Morris, I toured with Jenny for a few years. That was good. And then sort of moving further along, did some stuff with Marcia, with Renee. Interesting playing with Renee. Everyone's had an interesting story to tell when they've.
Do you want to tell a story?
I don't know.
You don't have to.
Okay, I'll wait. I'll tell you off the record.
Oh yeah, well, good. Yeah, sweet as. Yeah.
I guess if you just throw a name, I probably would say, I've played with them. With them as such.
Yep.
And then with people from overseas, played with Elvin Bishop from Paul Butterfield Blues Band. A Fool Around Fell in Love. Did a tour with him, and he came out here, real mountain guy he is, man. Just wears overalls, and he just like, "Hey Victor, how you doing?" And he'll put a big arm wrestle and just get you a little headlock and rub your head like, "Hey!" Shit, man. Some strange dudes. There was a lady that came out many moons ago. Her name was Ellen McElwain, a rock guitarist, and her claim to fame was she was the first chick guitarist to play with Jimi Hendrix.
Right.
And she came out and she had one of those things that was like the new thing. It was like a bow, and it was just like a big, it looked like a big rock, but you put it on your guitar strings and it just gave all these weird sounds.
Right.
I don't know whether it had a battery thing in it or something you had to wire it, but anyway, she was doing that, which kind of like all the guitar players in Sydney was like, "Shit, what's that, man?" She's getting this weird sound out of that, But did something with her, which was interesting. Rick Astley, when he came out over the years, it was great working with him.
Yeah, Fab talked about
Rick.
Yep.
Okay.
And that was with Paul Gray, wasn't it?
That was with Paul Gray. Yeah.
Yep.
Did he talk about that particular rhythm section?
Yeah.
Well, that's the rhythm section that we're still together.
Yeah, and you guys do the rock the boat.
We do the rock the boat cruises and
that.
whatever other stuff comes along.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's a pretty unique unit, that band, because we're like 4-piece as we were. We were still economical. Like 3 of us sang harmonies, really good harmonies.
Right.
And that's the thing that grabbed Rick. He said, "Man, you guys." He didn't really want to sort of like praise us too much, because I know that when he went back to England, he would just rave about us to his band, and I think they sort of got the shits with that. But I kind of when I went over to the UK, I sort of, bought the olive branch and to, meet his band and all that. She said, "Oh man, this is Victor, he played bass for me," and I went along to their gigs. I mean, he was playing massive audiences as such, but and I just went along and just made peace with them and said, "Hey man, you guys are great," and all this sort of thing. And then after a few beers, then the bass player or the drummer used to say, "Oh, Rick could just never stop talking about you guys." Because Rick had a bigger band over there, he had to get BVs and horn players and shit like that. Right. Whereas we were just like the basic 4-piece, man. Well, actually 5-piece, because we had another keyboard player with us. Guy from Melbourne. He's pretty good too. The name just escapes me. Nick Pringati, that's it. And then Lulu's come out. You remember Lulu from?
Sure do. Yeah.
Did a tour with her and with Leo Sayer.
Yep.
That was pretty good.
What's the Monkees?
Oh, the Monkees.
What is that?
That's going back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Monkees.
I was a monkey for about 4 weeks.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, 3 of them came over.
Oh,
except
right.
Mike Nesmith. Yeah. They came over and did a national tour. So, I jumped on board with that. Yep. Peter Northwood was on guitar.
Yep.
Jamie McKinley. On drums, we had... it escapes me at this... can't recall. Too many drummers. Not enough time.
Bloody drummers.
It might have been Mitch Farmer or Doug Gallagher. Can't recall. Yeah, but that was good fun.
Yeah,
that was good. What else have we got?
David Garibaldi.
Oh man,
he's one of my favourite drummers. That guy.
Serious?
Oh yeah. Gordon Rittmeister put me on to. I went to a lesson with Gordo, and I was a little bit stuck on ideas. I'd been playing a lot and I got really stale, and early YouTube, so it wasn't a lot of that stuff, and I didn't know to look there so much. And Gordo put me onto Future Sounds, which is one of Garibaldi's books. Okay. Yeah, a lot of linear type playing, and then I started getting into Tower Power, and oh wow, fuck!
How did you feel when you discovered that?
Unbelievable! What is this? Rocker,
how's the groove on that?
Just tight, man. Yeah. Just tight. A lot of notes, but tight. And
just
and the horns and the.
Yeah, it's kind of like they came out of that Bay Area sense.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the Oakland. Yeah. Oakland, yeah.
So David Garibaldi. Well, the story behind that, I went over to New York in 2009, and. So what you do when you go to New York, you go to all the different clubs and you sit in, you hang out, you sit in. Yep. And the Bitter End is the one club that I went to. The Bitter End is famous because that's where the Donny Hathaway live album was recorded.
Oh, is that right?
What's going on? Yeah. Same stage, nothing's changed, So I went in there and I met the guy.
Willie Weeks, man.
Willie Weeks, exactly. Well, the house band for the Monday Night Jam is the ex-touring sax player out of Billy Joel's band.
Right.
Who was also featured in one of those documentaries about that. I don't know whether it was called
Hired Guns or whatever.
Hired Guns, yeah.
Something a couple of years ago.
That's right, the doc for that song.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, I met up with them, and Larry Braggs was the singer of Tower of Power at that stage. He'd been with the band for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And he was in town. He said, "Hey man, Oh no, that's right. I was speaking to the guys in the band, and Neville Lagreen, who was the Aussie guy over there, bass player. He said, "Vic, why don't you get on the jam? This is Larry Braggs. Hey, brother, how you doing? Let's do it. Yeah, let's come on. Let's do it. You know what is hip? I said, fuck yeah. You know? So we did that, and we did... that was great because the house band had horns. They had 3-piece horns. So if you're a horn player in New York or anywhere in America, you must know Tower of Power.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what. Even if it's the top 5 hit songs,
yep.
You have to. So they played it like precision, man. So I just thought, shit, man, here I am.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And then he said, hey, man, and people like that. He said, okay, let's do another song. And it's like, oh, shit, which one's it going to be now? And said, oh, let's do Let's Stay Together, Al Green.
Oh, yeah.
Shit, yeah, let's do that. So 2 songs in, and it's like we all get off, and everyone's complimenting each other. And hey, you're a great brother. Hey, where you from? And, you know, I said, I'm from Sydney, Australia. Oh, okay. So you living here in New York? No, I'm just here on holidays, mate. Yeah, what the fuck? You know, it's like you don't want to. I said, oh man, I'd love to, but I got to go back home. You know. He says, well, hook me up with some gigs, man. I'd love to come to Sydney. And I thought, oh well, that's great. I mean, I thought that's your typical American gesture, being nice. You know. Yeah,
right.
You know.
Right.
He says, here's my card, man. You know. Emails, we'll email each other. I said, yeah, that's nice, bro. That's good, you know. So I just thought nothing of it, because you meet a lot of American musicians in passing, and it's all the same thing, you know, exchange cards and like, yeah, man,
right.
You know.
Right.
Get back to Australia, 3 weeks into it, he's like, hey, Vic, it's Larry Braggs here, man. You know, it's like...
Haven't heard from you, man.
Yeah, what's going on, man? And I thought, oh, okay, well, that's nice. So I replied to him, and I said, he said, yeah, man, I got this album coming out. It's called The Cookbook, and it's all covers songs of Sam Cooke. And I got David Garibaldi playing on it, you know. And so David and I, man, we'd love to come over, you know, come down, you know. You think you can line up something for me? And I thought, man, this guy's serious, you know. So I thought, okay, what's your schedule? And he said, man, we're busy as those guys tour every day. They've been doing it for the last 40, well, that was back then, so it's like 45 years now.
Yep.
For like over 200 days a year, they just tour,
yep.
Constantly tour.
Yep.
You know? And David's been with him for a long, long time, all that time. So, and I thought, well, how about your schedule? And he said, oh, I'll let you know. So in the meantime, I ring up Chris Richards from the basement, the old basement. And I said, Chris, Tower of Power, I've met up with the cast, they want to come over. He goes, how many nights do you want? You know. And I go, shit. I said, I don't know, just, you know, stand by. I'll find out more information. And anyway, Larry gets back to me and says, we've only got this small window of opportunity. We're going to Bangkok in such and such a time in April or whatever. So we've only got about a week. Do you think you can do something in there? I said, I'll try, you know. So I started with Chris. He said, yeah, I'll give you Thursday, I'll give you Saturday night at the basement. So really, they can effectively do 1 week, which is really the weekend, and they've got to piss off up to Southeast Asia.
Yep.
So I went, oh, okay, well, what do I do on a Friday? And I'm going to have to get a gig on a Sunday, because he's giving me the basement Thursday and a Saturday, so I need to fill in Friday and a Sunday. And how much am I going to pay these guys, man? I mean, you know, they're like the elite. You know, they probably want a few grand each. You know, $5,000. Yeah. So anyway, to and fro. This is going on for weeks, come months. Before you know it, I'm asking everybody in the industry to help me out. Everybody bent over backwards to help me out. I ended up, I couldn't find a promoter. I asked Peter Noble, who runs the Blues Fest in Byron Bay. He says, mate, we're chockers. Same with Michael Chugg, you know. If you would have told us early, we could have put them on the bill, yep. And then come to Sydney and all that, and we would have done it with your band, you know.
Yep.
And I went, shit. And I said to Chris, I can't find a promoter. And Chris says, you do it. He said, what? He said, no, you do it. You do it. I'll help you. I'll just talk you through it, walk you through the whole thing. It's quite easy. I said, I can't do it on my own. I need capital, startup capital, you know. Find, you know, speak around, talk to somebody. I ended up getting the other partner that used to be at the basement, Bruce Files. He got involved. He threw in $5,000. And the tour manager, because I was touring with Marcia Hines then, and I was asking him, because he used to be a general manager for the entertainment centre before it got pulled down. Right. 10 years experience behind him, and because I kept asking all these industry questions, where do you go to get this, and or where do you get tickets from, and how? And he's going, what are you up to, Victor Rounds? I can see something funny going on here.
Oh, you hadn't told him then? You hadn't told him at that stage? What was?
No, I was just asking him general questions, industry questions, and he said, what's this all about? And I said, well, I explained the story. Yeah. And he said, who are they from? I said, Tower of Power. Okay, hang on a second. I've just got to make one phone call. So he rings up the current manager of entertainment at the end, and he says, "Oh, go, man. You know, it's Arthur here. Don't say anything. But what do you think of first when I say the words Tower of Power?" And he goes, "Oh, are they coming here? Are they?" And I said, "Right, that's all I need to know." He goes home and he came to me and he says, "Right, how much money do you want?" So he threw money in, and then I threw a little bit of my money in. We had working capital.
Yep.
And then we just got the ball rolling. We just got free sponsorship from Yamaha. Well, David's already a Yamaha endorser.
Yeah.
So John Corniola, Frank Corniola down in Melbourne, he wanted dates. He said, bring him down for 3 days. Adelaide wanted us. The word got out to Perth. They wanted us as well. I said, mate, we've only got 7 days, really, of which 4 is in Sydney. You know? Yeah. We could have made a killing, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, brand new pasty cymbals that came over from Canada, free drum kit came from show travel, bent over backwards. They gave us discounts on everything from hire cars to all. The CEO of Merivac, who owned Pier 2, the hotel down there, gave us like statesman rooms for the price of a standard room. Yeah. Just they were great because they knew a promoter wasn't doing it. It was just a local musician who was doing it. So the industry actually stepped in. So
there was no sneaky back pocket shit.
Nothing.
It was like,
it was all above board, awesome. And they just knew it was just this lonely bass players. I went to the immigration so many times. I had to get a letter of accreditation from the musicians union. Cost me money for this letterhead, blah blah blah, backwards and forwards. In the end, it worked. It bloody worked, and then the immigration department gave me the stamp saying, okay, you are now accredited promoter to bring anyone in for the next 3 years. Great. So it's valid for 3 years, not just for this time when these guys are there. Yeah. And then I got the ball rolling, and then I had to ask the big question. So, mate, how much do you guys want for a gig? And, you know, he says, oh, whatever you think, you know, it's like, we don't mind, you know, maybe $1,000, you know. I said, oh, each? Yeah, is that okay with you? I mean, you know. I thought they were going to ask for like $5,000, you know. Yeah. And I thought I had the money already in the working capital there, so that's their fee taken care of. Yeah. And then it was just a matter of getting the flights over. So what we did is, he said, don't worry about getting us business class. You just get the cheap flights. We've got 1 million points amongst it. We'll just upgrade ourselves. So even they bent over backwards for me. It was like a dream run.
That's right. Yeah, it's so cool.
And then I said to the other 2 promoters, I said, mate, you give yourself a wage in this just in case we lose our shirt. So they gave themselves a wage. And as it turns out, the gigs were all, you know, we did 2 nights at the Basement, 1 up at Lizottes in Newcastle. And I asked the guys, Larry and David, I said, you guys want to work in a pub? So he said, what's that? You know, a pub. Normal, I'll get you a pub gig on a Sunday night. So we did the Bridge Hotel. Packed the place out. Wow. Because it was like Muso's night, you know. Everyone's working on the weekends. Yeah. And it was great. It was good. And then we, you know, all got our money back. We just broke even because the wages paid our money. And we broke even. So we had lockout for 2 days rehearsals at the Bridge Hotel. Richard, the owner, gave us that for nothing. He supplied food, catering and all. We just rehearsals all day. The Aussie guys were like the horn section. They were packing up at 3 o'clock and Larry and Dave said, what are you guys doing? Oh, we got to go. We're going to pick up the geese. No, man, we rehearsed this shit right until we got it. And they were like, oh yeah, okay. Some guys were doing the stage show that night. Said, I've got to leave early. And I said, yeah, okay, but you're back here tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock. Yeah. You know? Sure enough, man, 11 o'clock, they were waiting outside the pub. Yeah. And and that's how they do it in America. Yeah. That's why they sound so good. Yeah. We only had 2 days. Yeah. But the horn players had it down, the rhythm section, we had it down. David was such a gentleman. Right. After every 20 minutes of playing, he'd sort of stop and get up. He says, Victor, just let me know if this isn't sitting or settling, you know. You just, you know, speak up, man, you know. I said, bro, it's all good. Yeah. But such gentlemen to work with, you know, the real deal musicians. You know? And I thought, you know, that's the kind of people. There are good people like that out there. You know, doesn't matter how much of a long record they have, or accreditation. You know, at the end of the day, they're just like us.
Just people, just play.
They've only done a million miles more than we have.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was the David Garibaldi story.
Wow, that's a fucking cool story. Yeah, that's really
and then we kept in touch, and then it was so sad a couple of years ago when he had that accident.
Yeah, did he get hit by a train or something?
He got hit by a train.
Yeah. But he's okay now, isn't he?
It was a long road to recovery, but he's okay.
Yeah,
the bass player was pretty worse off than him. His face had to be reconstructed and stuff. But they basically, when they got hit, witnesses said it looked like a couple of rag dolls, because trains can. And that was 5 minutes before they were supposed to go on stage.
Right.
Because the hotel was just across the road, across the tracks.
Did they try and run over the track?
5 minutes before that, And unfortunately, they waited. They missed it. So the train was coming, so we'll just wait. And just as it got to the last carriage, I thought, okay, they'll run across, but they didn't see the train coming the other way.
Oh,
and that was it. But those trains go through town on a slower speed.
Okay.
Because it's the main drag,
Right.
So you got Amtrak just going straight through it. But they got hit. Yeah. And poor old David, there was a big world fundraiser.
Yeah, there was, yeah.
So, did you contribute?
I think the part of the crowdfunding I did.
I did too. It was good. He was very appreciative.
Yeah.
He had no insurance, man, nothing. I mean, in America, that's what it is.
Yeah.
If you either can afford insurance or you can't,
Just makes you think maybe they don't make that much money with all those shows that they do,
No, that's right. That's why you got to keep going, just keep working.
Just keep working, that's it.
So, how's our time? Is it?
We're on an hour, so that's really good. So who else do you want to talk about?
I don't know. What else you can talk about? The footy. Fiji.
Fiji beating France,
I just thought I'd just throw that one in. That was great. I saw the game. That's
yeah. Lucky you're not Irish, because Irish beat the bloody All Blacks the other week.
Number 2 on the
absolutely
ranking. So it's
they're our boogie team, man. They've beaten us 3 times in 4 years now, whatever.
God.
Good, I reckon
it's almost like a level playing field now.
Yeah.
You got to have the competition up there, eh?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, what have we got?
All right, how about one thing I'm a bit curious about. We don't have to talk about money figures here, but the money you were making back in the heyday compared to the money you're making now,
Okay.
You don't have to name figures, but I'm just curious as to how sort of pay rates have gone in the last, say, 15 years.
Okay. There's, I hate to put it, but there's different tiers of...
Tiers, yep.
Okay. So the lower tier, money hasn't changed.
No.
Can you believe that?
No, I know that.
Yeah, hasn't changed at all.
Yep.
Next tier up, kind of okay. We're talking like your weddings or your corporate gigs. Then the tier after that is still like your corporate kind of gigs, and the money's even a bit better as such. Then your top tier, which is playing for artists, or me as a session musician, session touring musician. The money's kind of okay. Depending on who the act is and how much they want to screw you for.
Yeah, right. So is it a case of they come to you and go, we can pay you that much, or do you say, well, this is my fee?
It works both ways. Some of them will just say, hey, look, this is massive tour run, here are all the names, and this is how much we're paying. So already they just know, what they're spitting out to you, take it or leave it.
Okay.
And sometimes I sort of look at it as a bit of a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones, the other offering is like, oh, look, this is so, these people are touring, and we would dearly love to have you on board, if the price is right, that kind of thing. And then obviously you just name what your fee is, what you think you're worth.
Yeah.
And they'll either take it or leave it, or they'll try and haggle, which is fine. But it's like that these days. It's all about haggling, and unfortunately musicians cop it first, more than anyone, they can spend money on production, on this and that, all the frills
all the
and
latest
everything.
stuff, new lights, and
But
lasers.
come to musicians, it's like they're still trying to haggle you out of $50 or $10 or $100 or cut you back on per diems or accommodation. It's like I like doing the top tier kind of gigs because you don't have to ask for anything. You just basically, as a session musician, as I said before, you get your own room. You're catered for, per diems,
Yep.
you name it.
Yep.
Production supplied.
Yep.
That's the other thing too. And these days, as like my equipment is less now than what it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I had to own all the rigs.
Right.
I spent a fortune on road cases for my speaker boxes, my amps, my basses, and all that.
Would you move them all around, or did you have cartage, so to speak,
We had
different towns? And
we had roadies back then.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They just did all that.
Right.
But these days, production is all supplied.
Yep.
So you just rock up with your basses and your pedal board and your suitcase, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Show lengths are still the same. It's an hour and a half or 2 hours, whatever the case may be. That's about it.
Yeah.
Musicians. I mean, I keep saying this all the time. We're like bloody cockroaches, mate. Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
The economy can have a downturn, or it could have a boom period. It doesn't affect us. Even when it does have a boom period, it doesn't affect us. We're still gigging, and we still get the same pay.
Yep.
You can't go to your employer and say, "Oh man, isn't the economy great?"
Mining boom, man.
Yeah, how about another $100 and I get stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas, but even in a downturn in the economy, who's still working? Musos.
Yeah.
Even if it's the odd gig here and there,
Yeah.
Like I said before, we're cockroaches. We come out of the rubble, we dust ourselves down, say, right, where's the next gig?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Although, in today's case, I think it might be like that for the last 2 or 3 decades, musos have still had to supplement their income. And what they do is they either get another job, a daily job. If you've got a family and mortgage and all that, totally understandable. You have to. You can't just rely on just your weekend gigs. Man.
Yep.
That's just nothing.
Yep.
And I think it actually, to be honest, that's how the trend is for the last 4 decades. You had to have some kind of day job.
Yep.
And the music was supplementing. Even though you can call yourself a full-time musician, I mean, I've made a living out of being a full-time musician with no daytime job.
Yeah.
And that's been tough. So it's been up and down, up and down.
Right.
But the ups have been so up that it just covers all the downs. So when you have the downturn, it's cool. We can relax, your partner might say, "Oh, when's your next gig?" It's not like that. It's, there's a bit of money in the bank, pay this week's rent or whatever. It's a hard life. Looking from the outside, but if you've been involved and you've been doing it all your life, you don't notice anything.
Sure.
You really don't.
Yep.
You've got to be a real idiot to bugger it up. If you don't put any of your money away and you're just like, oh, I've got no money for rent next week. Well, what have you been doing? Oh, I just blew it on some whatever. It's like, well, then you're a dopey bugger. You shouldn't be a muso at all.
Yeah.
But I tell you what's good that's come along for a lot of musicians in the last 2 years is Uber driving.
Right.
That's helped a lot of musicians go out and supplement their income.
Right.
Yeah. I've done a bit myself.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been involved for about 1.5 years now. I found it very relaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with... this was the period when I just had enough of teaching, full time.
Yep.
I thought, I want to do something different. I just want to relax and just ease the mind and just meditate if you can. And I found Uber driving exactly that. It provided me my own time. I had my own music in my car. Sometimes if I had to learn a repertoire, it'd be in the car. And I get paid for learning it. And sometimes you'd pick up a passenger and they go, "Hey, that's great. Can you turn that up?" And
Sure,
who's
man.
that? And it's just a couple of guys I know. And they try and Shazam it, especially if it's original music. And it's, it's not coming up. It's, no, these are like original tracks.
Yeah. Shazam, it'll be there next year.
Yeah. Stuff like that. But no, I actually found Uber driving fascinating.
I've got a question on Uber. Me and my wife got the Uber Eats for the first time in the weekend.
Okay.
And we were wanting to know, are the Uber Eats drivers the same as the normal Uber drivers?
No, they're different.
It's different, okay, right.
Yeah, they're on scooters or bicycles.
No, the guy rocked up in a car.
And I was going to say, or the car.
Right, but it's not a normal Uber. You don't go off and do Uber Eats deliveries, is that right?
You can nominate to...
You nominate to...
You can,
okay.
Yeah, but...
Yeah. Way off track.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I don't know enough about Uber Eats to get involved.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But hey, Uber's the way to go at this stage. I sometimes I've tried turning the Uber app on my way home from a gig, and I go pick up passengers. Oh, so you make an extra $15-25 on the way home. It's like a couple of times I've risked it because my gear it's so full of stuff. Like I dropped the back seat down, so I'm thinking, have my fingers crossed, like, oh God, I hope I don't pick up a group, and sure enough, you only pick up one person, so that's fine. They jump in like, oh, what's going on here? Did you just play in a band? Yeah, I'm just like, oh man, cool. So the conversation starts, you're a muso, blah blah blah. The first question you get from them, so who have you played with? Sometimes you just tell them, I play with the Rolling Stones. And depending on how pissed they are.
I love Paul McCartney, man. Paul McCartney.
I've got to tell you though, I'll tell you what the highlight of my musical career is. I suppose you're going to ask me that question. What's been the most, the highlight of your musical career? We did a tour. We supported Paul McCartney back in 1993 with Jenny Morris. Right. We did the whole Aussie run. We did start from Perth, blah, blah, blah. So what it was, the highlight of my whole musical career, I'll tell you right now, is sharing a joint with Paul McCartney and Linda McCartney. Going from his lips to my lips, handing it over to Linda, and then in turn handing it to the guitar player who didn't smoke, but of course you had to do it. He did, Yeah,
oh, man.
That was amazing. It was fantastic. Wow. I'm thinking to myself, do I wash my hands and wash my lips? And it was so natural and so organic. And we were out. It was the end of the tour party. It was in the big executive. They just hired a big executive home in Balmoral Heights, overlooking the heads and all. But it was night time, and talking to Paul. Talking with Paul, it was not all about him, it was all about you, like the subject. It was fantastic, man. He knew all details about... My missus couldn't come to the gig because I was that particular month or in that period, I was booked on holiday to go to Fiji with my son then, Abraham, was only about 2. And my missus said, you can't do that, you can't just come on the holiday and forfeit it. You've got to do the tour. And he said, I'm sorry. I said, no, it's okay. But I told Paul about it because every time we have a party at a different city, he said, where's your wife? Where's your... And the first time it happened, I said, no, they're going to Fiji for holiday. I'm meant to be there. And then he just kept talking about it every time with me and after the gig. He says, so when's your wife coming? It's all Fiji. We talk about rugby and all that stuff. Yeah, it's fantastic. It was only on the last night we talked a little bit about shop because that was about the time just after they did the collaboration with Michael Jackson, when they did those songs. Girl Is Mine. Was it Ebony and Ivory?
Ebony and Ivory,
that's with Stevie Wonder,
yeah.
But he was saying, back then, he was just saying, man, I don't need... Michael, when we did the clip for The Girl Is Mine, Michael kept teasing me. He says, watch out, Paul, I'm going to buy all those songs off you, just jokingly. And eventually it happened.
Yeah, that's right.
And Jackson's lawyers wanted to do a deal with him, and he said, no, I can't do any deals because you've got to go through Yoko as well because of land and estates, So they did all that, and then Paul just said, I didn't need all that money. Right. My kids go to a public, not a public school, they call a private school their public school, but just a normal school.
Right.
And he said, that's all, I can't take it all with me, man. It was such a profound statement, he made. But he said, I think Michael did do some deal with Yoko as such.
Right.
Yeah. But that was Paul, that's how he was. Such a cool cat.
That's so cool.
He used to come and see us. Every show we did, he'd always be there on side of stage supporting us.
Right.
Support act.
Yeah.
Jenny
Who were you
Morris.
playing with at the time?
Jenny Morris.
Oh, Jenny Morris. Oh, sorry, yeah, you said that. Yeah. Who was in the Jenny Morris band?
Do you know a percussionist called Sunil De Silva?
I don't know him. I
He's
know
a
of
legend.
him.
Yeah. He was in it.
Yep.
A drummer called Peter Chobo. A guitar player called John Hamilton, and on keys we had Kiwi guy Tim Reddy. Used to be in the Monkees.
The Monkees, yeah.
The keyboard player. Yeah.
Awesome.
So and that was good. It was a nice run.
Yeah.
But that was that is the highlight of my musical career.
Yeah.
Sharing a joint with McCartney.
That's cool. I don't think we could top that.
Oh no, it's not a musical thing.
No.
It's
just Paul McCartney, man. I thought the Tower of Power story was fucking cool, but
that was great too.
That was awesome. Yeah.
But just great cat, just so down to earth and so
just people, eh?
Yeah. Just, no one's above them or below them or anything. Everyone's just talking to each other on the same.
Yep.
And I've kept in contact with both of them, with Larry and David.
Yep.
Also with Larry, because Larry's left Tower of Power. Now he's one of the singers from the Temptations.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
I mean, people just go, "Oh, the Temptations," but they wouldn't know who the individuals are because they're all gone now.
Yeah.
So, and he still rings me up every now and then. Hey, man, put a band together when we come over, on our days off. He's such a workaholic,
Right.
I said, man, just come and relax,
Yeah, come true.
Because they came through early this year.
Yeah.
The Temptations. But we always catch up. It's really good,
Yeah. Well, Victor Rounds.
Hey.
You're a gentleman, sir.
Oh, mate.
One of the coolest cats in town.
Oh, mate.
Thank you so much for being on the Gig Life podcast. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you and hearing your stories. And
thank you, mate. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time out to come out.
Too easy, man. Too easy.
And I hope everyone who's listening has enjoyed the stories as such. I mean, I should have dropped names to praise them, but I think they know who they are out there.
That's quite cool, yeah.
It's not all about name dropping.
No, not at all.
Except for the names that I've mentioned to you that's outside of our industry and
sure.
elsewhere. But stories to tell.
Yeah. We'll do a part 2 sometime, eh?
Oh man, no, it's all good.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you, man.
You too.
I really dig it. Thank you so much.
Cheers, man.
Okay.
Right, cheers.
Good night.